Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 10th installment of the Fuel Injection Podcast. Today we have a man who goes by the name of Bunga Bunga Stig, here to tell us why he thinks BMW has lost its way. So, Bunga Bunga Stig, what do you have to say about BMW and why you think they're going down the tubes?
Number one, I'm gonna go on my little steering wheel rack. Rants because I really hate electric steering, like with a burning passion. I hate electric steering. When a Honda Fit from 2010 has better steering than a modern day F33 series, that means they really need to go back to the drawing boards. There's no feel, it's dead on center. The way it weights up feels more like what I get out of a video game controller, and those don't even have wheels. But in terms, it's just all artificial. I think it feels like the mouse on my computer at best, and at worst it feels like I'm just playing in an arcade. That's not driving though. I could do that from home.
So it feels fake. It doesn't feel like you're actually behind the wheel, actually driving a vehicle.
Yeah, but the problem with the F30 especially, and just any generation, this also goes for I think the F10 M5, or actually not the F10 M5, but I want to say the F10 5 Series in general. I think that's what it is. And that was basically when they switched to electric steering, they just lost all the feel. In fact, the F10 M5 is the last modern BMW to have hydraulic rack, and even then they somehow butchered that. I mean, you made the E46. How can you get it so wrong today? And I get the reason why you'd have it, like, to do self-driving stuff. You don't buy the ultimate driving machine to get driven. You buy a freaking Mercedes to do that.
Exactly. The motto is ultimate driving machine, and yet they create this vehicle that just isn't fun to drive anymore. You just feel like you're driving like a box on wheels, essentially.
A simulator. They look really so, and the thing is, I used to be able to say, well, at least with the F generation, like if you look at an F generation 5 series, an F generation BMW 3 series, a 4 series, they look fantastic.
They do.
Then you get at least they look good. At least they got something going. They were more meant to be mass market. I see why they did that. Made them a little bit bigger, made them quite a bit more expensive, and at least they give them more room, feature comforts, etc. So I can see on that side to boost sales, it might be a good idea. But electric steering has no place in an M3 or an M5 ever, and they have done exactly that. And I'm really pissed at them for that.
It does, because what the M3 and the M5, what those are supposed to be, they're supposed to be vehicles for people who like driving, people who like the feel of driving. And electric
you want to be driven by a computer? Get a fucking Tesla and fuck off. That's all I gotta say.
Just get a Tesla. If you want to sit in the back reading a paper, drinking your tea or whatever, and getting driven to some place, get a Tesla, get one of those. What's that thing that Google's making, that self-driving Google vehicle? You know.
I don't know, the thing that makes the i3 look pretty.
It's the Google uptone cesspit. That's what it is. It's the uptone.
That one, the one that I wish did not exist at all, but it sadly does.
That makes the Tesla Model Y look like an E-Type, honestly. It's such an awesome thing.
So wait, what does that make the E-Type look like then? I'm sorry, I have to get technical on you now. What is that like? Does that make it the E-Type the new 250 GTO?
I think so, yes. Because I think if the Tesla Model Y is as beautiful as an E-Type when compared to the Google uptone cesspit, then the E-Type is just absolute pinnacle of design.
I will say that just on the note, since you mentioned the E-Type, I gotta say I never want to see like a non-convertible E-Type again. They just look so much better with the top off, because you lose even that little bump in the profile, and it's just like a missile.
Yeah, it's just so low down to the ground and sleek, and I mean,
there's a guy back at home with an AMG GT.
Yeah.
Of course you're biased, but honestly, I agree with you on that one. Honestly, if you're gonna talk about cars that have like a hard top, then I'd have to say the Ferrari's the most beautiful car, the 250 GTO. But if you cut the top off, it's the E-Type. And in the modern day, because it follows its same proportions and stuff, it'd have to be the AMG GT.
Yeah, I think there's only a handful of coupes, hard top coupes that actually look good now, and the AMG GT. I think the SLS AMG is pretty good.
The Continental GT is pretty nice looking.
The new Continental GT, I saw one yesterday, was absolutely fantastic. My mouth was literally like this. I was like,
I'm just like, how did they manage to make that car brilliant in every way? It's gorgeous. My cousin almost bought one.
Yeah.
He loved it, but then he realized it's 6,000 pounds and turns like a tank. It
And
does drive like a tank apparently.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's all. It's like, when he can't like reach the control because like all the way on the other side of the car. He's a tall guy, but it's a huge car now, and he's like, that's a little too much weight. I'm gonna get stuck in the Massachusetts snow. It's just gonna sink.
Yeah, it's gonna all the way.
Even with the all-wheel drive and everything, but it's still, he's like, it's a wonderful car. He was like ready to sign the papers, and then he realized how heavy the damn thing was. But that's the worst looking sports car in my opinion. It has to be the Porsche 911.
That's just a squashed Beetle, and I know we're getting a bit off topic here, but that is honestly just a squashed Beetle.
I think we're going to piss a certain someone off that we all know, and we aren't going to name, but we know exactly who's going to be very pissed with that statement that we just made.
I just named. It's too late to say it.
Damn. Sensible. Bleep on that one.
Get
anyway,
that machine out.
So let's go back to that. The biggest problem that I have with BMW, because I still have, it's a long list, and we only have 15 minutes, right? So let's get cracking real quick. Let me get into some of the other things I hate about BMWs today. Number 2. So if you look into the G Series cars, so I thought they were starting out pretty well. The 5 Series looked nice. It had a decent sized grille. Note, decent sized grille.
Decent sized grille. Still like a kidney grill, not a fucking long grill.
It doesn't look like I screwed an iPad displaying a picture of a grill on the car. 2 of them side by side.
They took one of those big screens off the Tesla, stuck it on the front of the 5 Series, and just went on.
You see, at least Tesla had the decency to know that belongs inside the car.
Yeah, at least Tesla knows where to put the iPad. Not outside, on the inside.
Inside of the car.
Yeah.
Mind you, Tesla infotainment is still some of the best in the industry. I don't know how they did it, but it's probably all the updates.
It is. I think it is.
If you want physical buttons, though, I'd have to say iDrive probably is the best balance of the two. I like Audi's MMI, and Command's a little confusing for me. I think the most beautiful infotainment system is the most beautifully designed. It's either, if you like minimalism, it's the Tesla, and if you like a little bit of flair, it's the Mercedes. Anyway, back on what we were saying, if you look at the new BMW digital gauge cluster, I also don't like that very much.
Yeah.
Go like this. Like, why do I have to look like that? No. Gauges go like this.
Yeah, it goes like
at very least they go like that. Or they go like this. They don't do.
It doesn't look like a C and then a backward C. It's like 2 half crescent moons, on the sides.
How about just dumb? So obviously I don't like the grills. I don't like the new design. So at least remember what I said with the F Series. All the F Series BMWs, they looked pretty good, and at least they had that going for them, and they were comfortable, and they did all that, all the civilian daily driver stuff pretty well. With a little bit of extra pep than what you'd get in an A4, an A6, C-Class, E-Class, etc. There's still a little bit, they were obviously the more sportier out of the box. They still are. But nowadays, number one, Alfa Romeo exists. Nobody saw that coming. Everybody thought that was going to be another Maserati Ghibli.
No one ever predicted that the Alfa would make the 2-liter QV.
No, and even just the base TI is really, it's really tight for me. I'm a bit on the tall side, so I can't really fit too well in the car, but it's kind of worth the sacrifice. It's just so nice. It's so pretty. It's on the outside and inside, it looks really good. And you expect it to be. I mean, honestly, if I had to buy a car today and it was a sports sedan, it would be a Giulia TI.
So you wouldn't actually go for the QV. You'd go for the TI.
Well, there's this thing called money, Lila. There's this thing called money, and I don't have a lot of it, so therefore I'd have to go with the TI.
But the TI is still what, $45,000, somewhere in there.
Buy new cars. I don't like buying new cars. Never gonna buy a new car, so it'd be certified pre-owned.
It'd be used, okay. But still, that's
the extended warranty.
Somewhat expensive.
That's like $20,000.
And if you don't have money, as you call it, Mr. Finance Man, if you don't have money, then what are you gonna get $20,000 to spend on a Alfa?
I didn't say I had no money. I just said I didn't have that much for a $90,000 Alfa Romeo.
You can get the
Well, yeah,
quadrifoglio.
based for about 75. Yeah, it's based for around 70 grand. Most people that have any nice options and comforts on it get it up to around in the mid 80s. And then, obviously it's not an AMG C63S, which is $99,000 at most. But it's kind of the middling between what the M3 was and what the C63 is in terms of price.
Again, there's something that you just mentioned a few minutes ago called pre-owned. Pre-owned.
I could get those for 40 grand. Yeah, I could get one for 40 grand, especially since they depreciate like pianos getting pushed off the Empire State Building.
They depreciated as much as that Motor Smyrna did when Top Gear dropped a piano straight on its roof. Just plonked it on top.
Or maybe that poor Toyota Hilux that they crushed like 3 times, blew up in a building, dragged into the sea, and did pretty much every single thing you could possibly do to kill a car. And it still works.
And that one still works. It still turns on.
And it's still, even when it's crushed, it still looks better than the new 4 Series.
It does. Okay, can we just talk about the new 4 Series? I saw one about a month ago. I had to go and bleach my eyes. I had to pull over, go and buy some bleach, and bleach my eyes, because that grill is just shockingly ugly.
Not just shockingly, it's just beyond. There's literally no taste in any part of that car. And then, can we talk about another thing I hate? I don't like front-wheel drive on BMWs, right?
Oh, absolutely. No one would.
You know what front-wheel drive BMW is called? It's called a Mini Cooper.
Exactly.
And so I honestly, I can concede that, okay, fine. The Mini Coopers have really good handling, but that's because they've got short wheelbase, they're really small, there's no understeer. Because, it's a very boxy design for the car in terms of the platform. The engine just sort of sits there, longitudinally mounted, I think. It's a pretty good deal for what it is. But when you get to the BMWs, no, rear-wheel drive. I think it was Thomas Holland from, Throttle House. He was saying basically that when he went to a dealership with his dad, they had an X3 there, and they're like, see this? And he just opens the hood and shows the way it's front engine to rear-wheel drive, show the Hoffman speeds. Every BMW, we pride ourselves in having this rear-wheel drive bias in every car they make.
They actually had it, yeah, and now none of them have it.
Fine with the X1, have it as a car just to get from A to B, because my neighbor recently got one. Against my advice, I told her to get an X3, but I said it was just bigger and better for having a family and everything anyway. But she went, they got a really good deal on the X1, and I was thinking about it because I was in that car before I left, and I was just like, okay, as a daily driver to get from A to B, that's fine. And it's a people carrier. That's what it's supposed to be. I'm not going to give it trash. And then I saw the 2 Series Grand Coupe. And then I decided, okay, this is unacceptable, because that is now supposed to be a sedan, a Grand Coupe, if you will. And it's supposed to be rear-wheel drive. It's basically, when I thought they were going to make that, what I honestly thought they were going to do is they're going to stretch the wheelbase of the current 2 Series coupe by 2 to 3 inches, and then just stick the doors from the E90 3 Series on the back.
But they didn't. They made this monstrous looking thing. It's like they took the 6 Series Grand Coupe, and then they took the 2 Series and added a bit of 4 Series styling in there, and made this absolutely hideous, monstrous thing that's front-wheel drive and just can't do anything. Cannot do anything to save itself.
The car understeers, the engine is facing the wrong way. It looks disgusting. It is disgusting.
Double the amount of eyeballs.
Every bad part of iDrive on it. Nothing is right about that car. The back looks like an X6, which is another car I want to talk about, hating very much. If you'll give me that second, and I think my watch is about to go off in 1 second. Yep. So we're almost out of time, but That's said... Fun.
You know what? Let's keep going on the X6 for a while.
I gotta really rip that car up. Okay, so number 1, it started what I call the turtle class of cars.
Yes.
So the only car where I think having that hunchback shape in an SUV is acceptable it has to be the Tesla Model X because it really does need all the the drag that the least amount of drag as possible, and that design would give it that. Also, I mean, you can kind of ignore the fact that it looks like an egg just as soon as those doors go up. But besides that, there is no functional reason for any of the other cars that are made of gas to have it. No internal combustion car needs to look like that, especially an SUV. Honestly, I gotta give mad props to the Audi Q8 because they didn't do that. Like the Q8, the Range Rover, they were great. Those are my two favorite SUVs right now. Those are the two best looking SUVs, the Q8 and the Range Rover Velar. And honestly, I can't decide which one looks better. But the point is, they should have taken a hint from that and realized that you just need to maybe make just a slightly lower roofline if you want that coupe look on your SUV. Which, by the way, why would you want all the inefficiency, the sloppy handling, the shit gas mileage of an SUV with the impracticality of a coupe? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you're taking two polar opposites and you're mashing them together to make this hideous, monstrous thing that's not useful for anything.
See, look, at least with the Sportbacks, like the A5 Sportback and the A7, I definitely like that type of design where I get the need to have a big hatch and still have like that that nice look though. But at least that thing's squatted down like it should be.
Yeah, at least it's not on stilts. Yeah.
If I wanted an SUV, I'd go and get myself a Suburban. If I wanted a crossover, I'd get like a Range Rover or even an X5. Why do I need to get an X6?
The X6 is... No one should have to buy or own or be seen anywhere near an X6. And I know this is going to piss off someone else in the fuel injection team. I think you know who we're talking about.
I watched that, yes, you did.
Hashmi.
Yeah.
Bill Hashmi, who's going to be pissed off. But you know what? That's okay, because he's not in this debate. And it's two against...
He's not here to say anything? It's two against one anyway. So you know what we should do is we should get like a really cheap first generation of X1, and just as a special treat, we should just fly it, meet in like Kansas City or something, and just see like all the things we can do to destroy it.
We should.
Trust me, I have no shortage of ideas of what I'd want to do to that thing.
We should actually take an X6, maybe take one that's been damaged, one that needs
salvage car.
Fixing up.
Car. And make it where it's completely insalvageable.
And make it even less usable than it already was. Just completely mess with it.
Well, they were useless when they were on the showroom lots. So how much more useless could we possibly get than complete crap? I'm
thinking more along the lines of doing what those firemen did to that Tesla Model 3, I think. Cut the roof off of it, completely dismember it.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
I don't know if you saw that, but there was some firemen that intentionally dismembered a Tesla Model 3, I think, and we should do that to the X6, and then take some photos, and...
Yeah, I bet you that Model 3 owner called the policeman and said, "Can you do a controlled demolition on the fire station?"
Yes. Can you do a controlled explosion of the fire station?
Yeah, it's a controlled demolition. That is an explosion now. It's basically just blow the place up without getting stuff all over the place. Falls in instead of out.
Going, though.
Where'd that come from? Where'd that come from?
No.
Anyway,
And on that disappointment.
Does that mean they're not coming on then?
No, definitely no. James, they're not coming on because they've been completely fried to bits by a bomb.
You can literally walk through the firemen. You can literally walk through the firemen. Just like you could walk through Richard Hammond if he had one of those Dubai hover bikes.
You could.
Literally minutes of fun.
It'd just be a film on the ground. You just step over it.
Yeah. As they said, even as dust, he's annoying. Anyway.
Even as little bits of dust. Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, so we've gone after the X6, but I still don't think we've done enough because I could spend another entire episode just on how much I hate that X6 and watch them make it front-wheel drive. Watch them make it front-wheel drive.
I think we need to have a special episode where we discuss the X6 and just hate on it for a solid half
Oh,
an hour.
and you know what it has now? You know what it
What's
has
that?
now? It has so you know how like the Mercedes has those light up three-pointed stars?
Oh,
They took that
I've seen
X6
those
grill.
on BMWs. Yes, I have. I've seen one of those. I saw that. I'm not sure
Okay,
if it's 6, but I saw one.
okay, watch them do that to a Rolls Royce. Actually, that would kind of look sick on a Rolls Royce, but not on a BMW.
Spirit of ecstasy on top.
Well, they have the light up one. I know that, but what if they made the entire grill on a Rolls Royce light up? That would actually look kind of dope if you could change the colors on it, but it would also be the chintziest thing you could ever do to a car.
I know exactly who would buy one of those. Any modern day trap artist, like Little Yachty, any modern day trap artist would buy one of those.
Yeah,
And
that could
say,
be one thing. I could
"Look at
also
me."
think of somebody who has a Lamborghini Urus who might want that. Another person who has a squash beetle who would definitely love that. See, two people who have questionable taste,
I can think
or
of
whose parents have questionable taste at the very least.
I can think of one particularly midget, from the top of the trio that might enjoy that.
Yeah, the one from Birmingham.
Yes, the one that likes the sculpted velour seats. The sculpted velour seats. Yes.
The one who liked the interior of the Aston Martin DBS Superleggera.
Yeah, the one that thought that was stylish and tasteful.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
the delivery car Birmingham spec.
It's Birmingham spec.
Anyway, so that said, the X6 needs to die. I have plenty of. If I had a lot of, if I was just like pouring out money, I would just be making videos of me destroying X6s, Priuses, Porsche 911s, Uruses, things like that. Just me blowing them up. That'd be the whole video.
I'd fly and I'd meet you, and I would join you in
Just be there just to watch at the very least, in person.
you know what I would do? I would take my dad's hideous little disgusting Toyota Tacoma, and I'd have you completely destroy it because it's hateful. And I think that's a topic for a different
You don't
episode.
like the Tacoma?
I don't. Well, I
That's
don't like
Tacoma. That was TRD. It was like modified and stuff. It's a buddies of mine, and that car is actually really nice. That truck.
My dad's isn't the TRD. It isn't. It's a
He's
2000.
got like 30s on his car. He's got light bar. He's got he actually has like police lights on his car because it's an EMT. So he has like the flashing LEDs, the police scanner. He has everything you could possibly imagine. Lift kit, all off-road tires, all that shit. Like it looks really sick, and it's a manual. Mind you, the throw distance is between here to New York to California. That's how long it's like. Just to get to gears. It's pretty funny.
Just to get there. Yeah.
It's a long distance, but it's a truck. Like, what do you expect? You don't expect to have a short shifter on a truck.
I mean, I wouldn't expect it to be a grand touring car. I wouldn't expect it to do what a constant
off-roading.
TV.
It's awesome. We went off-roading on some trails up here, and it was just sick. Just ate that shit up like nothing.
I mean, it's meant to do that, so. It is meant to do that, so.
Can't even do the one thing it was designed to do, the X6.
And yeah, the X6 was designed to, do some light off-roading. I can't even do that.
By the X5 designers, and once they finished up designing the X5, they decided to go do lines of cocaine.
Many lines of cocaine, and perhaps some heroin as well.
And,
heavy hallucinogenics.
Yeah, shrooms. Yep, they definitely did shrooms on that one.
Shrooms, yeah.
Like the people who designed New Jersey, too.
Oh, yeah, the people who made the outline for that state, my god.
The people who made the roads in that state. There's there's two roads called I-95.
There's two I-95s.
Which is this is what happens. It's what happens when you trip balls and you're seeing double.
It's what happens when you mix heavy alcohol with lots of heavy drugs and hallucinogenics.
Yes, what doesn't kill you makes you dumber. Anyway, the X6 is the New Jersey of the car world, and I'm really disappointed that BMW still makes it. because then it made the even uglier somehow, the GLE coupe.
GLE coupe, yeah. That is
somehow
basically
even
the X6 made by Mercedes, yeah.
Yeah, and it's somehow even worse.
See,
That thing is a turtle. If you
I
paint
think
it green,
it's
it's a
equally as
turtle.
bad. I think it's equally as bad. And I think this is like for the second episode.
Yeah, that's very.
GLE coupe or X6.
Mind you, better's not the right way to put it, which is less shit.
Which one? Yeah, which one is least worst, as Jeremy put it in that episode of Top Gear when they were testing all the crossovers for people who like to do caravanning.
Yeah, I see the worst thing though. I will say the worst thing though is that that there are people on Drive Tribe who genuinely like the X6.
Well, he'll ask me.
Yeah, I think he needs new eyes. Can we get a
new
eyes,
a new brain?
Like, we just need an eye. We need a eyes for a health campaign.
We do. We need donate eyes.
Give him your glasses. Give him your glasses.
Eyes for the poor. There we go.
Yeah, give him your glasses.
Yes, there you go. He has glasses actually, but he can have mine too.
Better. Just have him stack them on top of each other.
He needs double glasses just to see how hideous the X6 is.
God, so I honestly, every time I see that car, I'm just like, blah. I'm like, there goes my lunch.
Yep. I just puked up my whole lunch. There we go.
You know, the only full circle, slightly ironic twist would be is if I was driving an X6, saw it in like a reflection off a building in New York, and then puked in the passenger seat.
You puke all over the inside. Just
let's make it a Hills car.
Yes, let's drive his X6. See the
through New York.
In a window, in a building.
Remember Hammond saw the Porsche Panamera, the reflection on the building. It's like, oh, you know, it's terrible.
Both him and Jeremy. It was like, oh, yeah.
And yeah, I remember. Yeah, because like Hammond's like, the one thing about it is that I actually, since I'm driving it, I don't need to see it. And then he was like, oh no, I still see it. I still see it. I still see it. I still see it. I still see it.
No.
Yeah, so that's definitely something we should probably try to destroy. I really want to just destroy one of those things. I will buy one because I should buy one as my first car because you know how every teenager wrecks their first car.
Yes, buy one of those and intentionally have a crash in it. Intentionally have a crash.
Off the bridge.
I mean, don't kill yourself.
Well,
but
I mean, I'd get out beforehand.
Okay.
Just let it slide off the side of it, like just, I forgot to put the park brake on it. It's rolled down a mountain. Oops.
Drive to the Grand Canyon, put it in neutral, get out, push
kick the front of it. Just kick the front of it, just boop, gone.
Yeah.
There you go. I should just make a video of me just blowing one up in Grand Theft Auto to prepare for it, though.
And I'll blow up all the
Priuses and those Rolls Royces.
Do one in actual life. Just go push it off the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, and then make a side-by-side video of the two. Just destroying them. Yeah, anyways.
Actual life.
Alrighty, so I think this is definitely a good place to stop because I can't talk about the X6 anymore without wanting to punch something. So
I'm next to my bathroom. I might just have to go puke if we talk anymore about the X6.
Yeah, you'll be seeing lunch and breakfast. That's how awful it is.
Yes, lunch and breakfast. And
last night's dinner.
And the soda that I just had, yeah.
Yeah, and last night's dinner and the night before's dinner, lunch and breakfast, and yes, you'll be seeing the last week's.
All of the things I've eaten for the past week, essentially.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not going to be a good thing.
Well, that concludes this discussion. Yes, was it a discussion or was it just a long,
two-sided rant?
It was.
I think Conversation Street's taking a wrong turn off onto Rant Lane.
Yeah, there we go. We accidentally went down Rant Lane. Yeah.
Anyway, alright, peace out.
Alright. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you next time. Like, comment, and subscribe.